Welcome to Abrar Electrical World. This is another do-it-yourself electrical small job. Don't have to call the electrician. What happens when you find or detect that there are more than one outlets which are without electrical power, then it will mean that the ground fault circuit interrupter on the circuit has tripped. It may be due to a temporary fault or a permanent fault. So first of all, we have to identify there that at which place the electricity is not available, which of the outlets the electricity is not available. You can use a small tester, phase tester for the hot wire, and I will show you that how to reset. First of all, I am showing you some pictures of the Gfci circuit breaker. This is a single pole circuit breaker, and then this is a two-pole circuit breaker, which is a ground fault circuit interrupter. So these are installed for the complete circuit. There may be 4, 5 outlets, 6, 7, 8, 10 outlets, whatever is allowed by the code. So you can identify that where are these installed. These are installed basically in the panel board near the mains, or maybe if you have more than one panel board, one for the floor, ground floor, one for the basement, one for the upper floor, then they may be installed at various floors in the panel board. Now, what are the locations for which GFCI circuit is installed? So I have given you here the list from the Canadian Electric Code or the National Electric Code USA. Both describe these things. So whichever circuit is supplying electricity to any of these outlets, sockets, then you must have a ground fault circuit interrupter breaker on that circuit. So for one circuit, there will be just one GFCI. When we talk about the GFCI sockets and outlets, then that will be a different kind of a story. I am making another video for the GFCI receptacles or outlets. So that will be for each one only. But this is for the complete circuit, all the outlets which are on this particular branch of the circuit. Now, how to identify? I have written here whatever I have said just right now. The power to an entire circuit of outlet is off. It may be because of a tripped GFSI breaker. If the power failure involves outlets in kitchen, bathroom, laundry area, etc., garage, there is a good chance that the trip breaker is GFCI breaker. There may be many other breaker in the panel board, but you have to identify the GFCI breaker. It will be written on the circuit breaker. You can read that. The GFCI or AFCI or the combo, all these are written, or simply the MCB, the miniature circuit breaker. It is written on the breaker. So it may be a temporary or permanent ground fault. Resetting this type of breaker, one of the easiest DIY do-it-yourself electrical jobs. Need not to call an electrician. Try to do it yourself. This is my advice. Now locate the main panel box in your home. As I told you already, it may be where your mains are entering in your house, or it may be more panel boards, one for the basement, one for the ground floor, one for the upper floor in a single dwelling. So you have to locate that, and whichever is off, you can go to the circuit breaker. You can check whether that knob is at on or off or in between. If it is in between, it will mean that it has not been switched off deliberately, but it has tripped due to a fault. If you touch it, it will be a kind of a loose button type. Or you can see there will be marking between on and off. There will be marking trip, and the line will be aligned with the trip line. So you can always identify whether it has tripped. If it has, is it on the trip position? It means that there is a ground fault, maybe permanent or maybe temporary. So you have to now reset this breaker. Now to reset the breaker, I will advise that don't go very close, because in case there is a permanent fault, it will trip again and there may be a slight inside flash over, very slight. But protect your eyes. I would recommend that wear some glasses for that purpose, and don't go very close. And if you like, you can also wear the hand gloves, electrical grade hand glove, but is not the requirement. That is not the requirement for switching on and off, but you can do it if you like to have more and more safety, especially the ladies. And you must take care, wear the glasses as well when you are touching the circuit breaker. If how to then switch on, you have to then press this completely to the R position, usually the downward. You have to press downward completely, bring it to off position, and then you will slide back to the on position. Up. First you go down from the middle position, and then you will move up the that switch. So if the breaker does not stay in the on position and immediately trips, then it means that there is a permanent fault. You have to look into, before calling the electrician, you have to look into whether at some of the sockets some kind of equipment is already connected, some sockets, some vacuum cleaner, anything which is already plugged in into the receptacle or socket. Then remove that first, and then again switch on the circuit breaker. You can do this before the first attempt of resetting, that whenever there is no electricity in the outlet, so check how many outlets do not have the electricity and remove any appliances connected to that. That would be better. And then switch on the circuit breaker, GFCI circuit breaker, as I told you the procedure. So I have tried to explain in a very slow speed, not like my lectures for the professional engineers, because I am considering here that the listeners are not engineers or electricians, but they are the just common people. So another final advice: take all necessary safety precautions. Don't take any risk. Wear the goggles. Wear the safety gloves if you think feel confident. You should not be wet. You should not be wet. Your finger should not be wet. So nothing should be wet, like it is raining and there is some water and moisture in the panel board. Don't touch it. Don't try to do this sort of work resetting at that time. So I hope this will be helpful for you. Thank you.